So we are the Coalition, loud and proud, civilly disobedient media. We are here at the brandy new, well, highly modified, highly upgraded, actually quite spectacular doggy park. Well, I'm a dog guy, so it's always going to be about the doggos, but it's an animal shelter here for animals that may have been discarded, and I hate to use that term, but so many people don't fulfill their responsibilities to these beautiful creatures. I'm here with MayorBob DaSilva. Amongst this great setting this morning, I'm here to talk about, of course, the Jessica Bouchain affair. To your credit, you made a statement earlier this week on social media talking about the fact that the canvassing authority operates outside, if you will, of the day-to-day management of the mayoral office. I do need to point out, though, that ultimately the mayor, under city charter, appoints from a pool of candidates selected by political party heads, the members. Folks are still upset over what I'll call both the conduct and the outcome of the hearing held before the canvassing authority. And it centers on two issues. As it turns out, for a number of years, Ms. Bouchain had been advertising the availability of a clipboard-based signature system, which is wildly against the law. And actually, in some quarters, folks say it constitutes a felony that she actually signed as to her witnessing of those signatures. But it got worse because ultimately the meeting was chaotic. The meeting was largely run by the city solicitor, Mr. Marcello, as opposed to the commission itself. And that's something I don't know if I've been to as many meetings as you have, but I've been to a lot, and I'd never seen that before. The fact that Mr. Marcello had to routinely advise folks on the procedures involved. And then, of course, there was the outcome, that despite the blatant advertising and despite at least one witness, which in many minds, including several legal minds, should have invalidated the entire process, you've got a mess. And on top of that, then you had allegations proven that the canvassing authority was not updating the state on ballot access applications. All right, so you're probably saying, is there a question here? Is there a question here? So the question is, of course, as the mayor, while you can't interfere on a charter basis on daily operations, you certainly serve as a moral authority for the city. Yeah. Is it time to have some, well, not just repercussions, but some serious analysis on the behavior of all of this, which feeds into folks' cynicism?
Okay, let me just touch on some of the things you mentioned, all right? First off, these are community members who make up the canvassing board. And like you said correctly, both the Democratic Party, Democratic City Committee, and the Republican City Committee put forward a list of 3 names, and we select one, we give it to the council then either approves or disapproves. They have the final say on who constitutes the canvassing authority. And the canvassing authority is set up in such a way, because I'm an elected official, the council's elected officials, these members get appointed at the recommendation of the Democratic City Committee and the Republican City Committee. And then they serve. These are lay people. Okay, these are lay people. Now, this type of hearing that occurred is not a typical hearing. I think, quite honestly, it was the first time that they've had this type of a hearing, talking about this particular canvassing board. And by charter, the city solicitor is the attorney for the city. Although the city solicitor is appointed or selected by me, ultimately the council says yes or no on who the city solicitor is, and then the city solicitor is charged by charter to be the attorney for the city of East Providence and boards and commissions of the city of East Providence. So in that particular case, from what I understand, and I did not watch the meeting, I was not in attendance, this is just from what people have told me, there were some questions, and the canvassing board members didn't really know which direction to go in, and my understanding is that Mr. Marcello provided legal counsel and advice to the committee. Additionally, because after this whole thing went down, just to put everything on the record here, I never once contacted anybody from the canvassing board prior to the meeting. I never even had a discussion with the solicitor on what my wishes were, because it's not my role. I completely divorced myself from this particular process. What I found out after the fact is there were some questions on social media, and the Republicans and some of the MAGA people out there were trying to cast aspersions on the whole process, trying to cast this negative perception on how everything went down. But what I found out, because I asked the question after the fact, I said, hey, why did they not dismiss the entire petition if, in fact, she's saying that she didn't witness all those signatures? And what I was told is that prior to this meeting, Solicitor Marcello had reached out to the Board of Elections, which is the body, the independent body that oversees all elections here in the state of Rhode Island, and found out that they had a previous case or previous instances where the rulings, I guess, have been, or the decisions have been that if you can point out which signatures were not witnessed, you remove those, but you don't remove the entire petition as a whole. Now, the other question you brought up is whether or not it's a felony. I am not looking into that. I don't know who would look into that, because you are swearing under oath that you collected every single signature. So if there is some violation of law, that's somebody else that would look into that, not the city of East Providence. And I would say that those two things are separate, right? Yes, you could commit a violation of law by signing it, but at the same time, the signatures could be legitimate. So if people in the community actually signed that petition in front of Jessica Bouchain, and if there were 2 or 3 that did not, I think the legal advice that was given to the advice that was given to the solicitor when he called the Board of Elections was that you can't discount every single one that's on there. You discount the ones that you can verify were not present when they signed, or when she signed, that she was not present when they signed. So that is my understanding of what happened there. And quite honestly, I think it was a mistake. It was a terrible mistake. It was something that Ms. Bouchain should have known better than to do. I mean, she's been around for a while, but maybe because she's done it in the past, she thought it was okay to do. And quite honestly, it's a black eye to the city, right? You don't want this negative perception that some type of fraud was happening. There was no election fraud that happened. All right, she set this up. People went and signed. I mean, my understanding is that she has a camera out there. I don't know if that's true or not. So I don't know. Look, was it wrong in the spirit of the law? Absolutely. Was it wrong for her to sign that she witnessed every single one of them? That was wrong. Did people sign it because they wanted to put her on the ballot so that she'd have an opportunity to seek the seat again? I think those people all showed up there with the intent that they wanted to see her on the ballot. So at the end of the day, the Republican candidate succeeded in removing a seasoned, well-qualified person who has been serving our community with respect and dignity, knows these children and knows the school system better than anybody else. But that Republican candidate was able to remove her from competition so she doesn't have to deal with her. So let's get to the bottom of what really was going on. Was it wrong for her to do what she did? Yes. But the ultimate goal was a Republican candidate did not want to face a well-qualified, seasoned person who cares about our community, who's worked on behalf of our student population, has showed up at every single event when it comes down to the school department. So that's where we stand with that.
Well, just to give it a little bit of pushback, it turns out over a number of years, Ms. Bouchain had advertised this process, and that, of course, calls into question past elections. But right now, the burden of the proof, despite the fact that it's been acknowledged by at least one witness that the signatures were fraudulent, and not all the other people came up, points to a fact that there was a level of fraud. And I think it's moved past Ms. Bouchain at this point. And I have to tease you a little bit, because for someone who's claiming to be apolitical in this, you're being supportive of the candidate over the process. I think the question here is the process.
No. I'm apolitical when it comes to the process. I don't get involved with that. I don't get involved with it. But you're a person who gets around. You understand. What was the ultimate end goal? What was the end game? Did she forge anyone's signatures on there? Absolutely not. Did she, in the spirit of the law, fail to witness every single signature on there? Yes. Did she violate that provision of the requirement that you witness every single signature? Yes, she did. There's no doubt, right? Mm-hmm. But does that mean, what was the end game? The end game, the whole reason this was done was not because there was any allegation that she forged every single signature, that she didn't have the required 50 signatures. It was, hey, we want her off the ballot. We don't want her to be somebody that we have to contend against or run against. we would much rather try to get a free walk in. But as it turns out, another candidate has put his name in, Anthony Padula, and Anthony Padula is a person who comes with a lot of experience, and so that person was able to eliminate one opponent. And unfortunately, fortunately for the electoral process, and fortunately for the people of Riverside and the people of East Providence, there is still a choice. So it's not going to be a free walk.
Let me just finish up on this. You're a seasoned law enforcement professional,
Yep.
having had an outstanding career
25 years.
in another city.
Yes.
If similar action had been taken with regard to any other contract, it could be a property transfer, it could be a checking account, it could be anything. There would be a considerable crackdown from law enforcement based simply not on what the reason for the reporting was, but ultimately the reason for which it occurred, which is someone decided to play hard and fast with the rules. Now, I'm going to remove Ms. Bouchain from the calculation. I'm going to remove because it's really become an issue of election integrity. And those are words that I think we all agree. Yesterday in a press conference with the minority leader, all agree have become subject to a lot of heated conversation. But the reality is, this is the cornerstone of this electoral process, this first step, and it's brutal. And there's a lot of people, including yourself, who in past years have had to go out there.
I did it this time.
As an independent or as a member of a party, even on a party signature, and spend, in this case, possibly the most brutal 10 days of petitioning I've ever seen in a
heat wave, rain. It was fun.
It was, it was. So you've actually got a lot of people from across the aisles, and they're not aimed at Ms. Bouchain. I don't know. Do you think it's fair to cast aspersions on the political motivations of someone reporting what, in some cases, would be considered a crime?
No. Look, I'm looking at what was the underlying goal. Let's be real. The underlying goal,
from your opinion,
was to remove her as a candidate so that you'd have an easier path to the seat. I understand, that's politics, right? Now, the other issue, and I stand strongly in favor of the process. The other issue was to identify, was there in fact people who signed not in the presence of Jessica Bouchain? And if they could identify those people, they should be removed from the list. That is what the Board of Elections has said is the practice in these type of instances, right? So you remove the names that you can verify, that you can prove did not sign in front of the person, not the entire list. Now, look, if the General Assembly wants to pass a law that says if you identify one name that was not witnessed, even though I witnessed all other 30 names, and you want to dismiss the whole petition or get rid of the whole petition, then that's something that the General Assembly could put in law. But right now, that's not the law. And so our solicitor followed the law. But let's not forget, was it wrong for her to sign under oath when she did not witness every single signature? Yes. Was it a nefarious act where she was trying to get fake signatures on there? It was not nefarious. Come on. She was, honestly, and I'll say this, she was being lazy. She was taking the easy way out by putting this out on her porch, either being lazy or being accommodating. Because here's the thought process: either she was being lazy because she didn't want to go out there and stand in the rain and the heat like I did, or she was being accommodating to people who are longtime supporters of hers, who she knew have busy schedules between her schedule and this schedule, and she wouldn't be able to connect with them, so she said, I'm going to leave it out here. Either way, it was wrong, and we know that now, and she knows that now, and everybody else out there who listens to it knows it, so that's where we're at.
Final question.
Yes,
she
sir.
took the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, bad luck.
But ultimately...
Bad luck, however, it's your constitutional right to do that, right? Politically bad luck.
Right.
But it is, as a man who supports the Constitution, that I know you do, you are a libertarian who absolutely supports the Constitution. It is absolutely in a person's right to take the Fifth.
You are correct.
And it is absolutely a person's right not to self-incriminate themselves before a board and go on the record self-incriminating. So she did what she did. Now, people will judge that as I've been, people have told me, listen, that it was not a good look. And maybe that's what drove her to decide not to seek re-election. Maybe she was trying to avoid any further attacks from this group who's very known for attacking people. So, you know what? It is what it is. She's out of the race. She made a mistake. She paid for it, and here we are.
I was just thinking before.
The final result is, unfortunately, though, you have people outside of politics, the political noise that goes on from both sides, saying out loud something I haven't heard before from regular folks, which is, what laws are you supposed to obey and what laws can you pick and choose from? Because ultimately, if she hadn't resigned, there was a chance that despite breaking the law, she could still continue as a candidate, and it will always be between her and her God as to why she chose to do that. We will never know. But
we got a president of the United States of America who's broken the law repeatedly, and he's still our president. And the same people who are crying the loudest right now are his biggest defenders. So look, she made a mistake. She paid the price. She's no longer in the race. What else do you want from me, Pat? Come on.
Mayor, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I've known Stephen Scully for over a decade now, as a customer here at the shop, and ran into a few financial situations, and out of the graciousness of his heart, he did a lot of cosmetic repair on my teeth. Didn't ask for a dime, and just did it because he cares. I know a lot of customers here, and he is one of my favorite customers just because he is just a regular person. You would never even know that he's a doctor. And I can't thank him enough for helping me obtain just something I wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. And he did it because he cares. He's helped other people here at the shop too with surgery. And again, just does it because he cares. Something I could say about Stephen is he is about as honest as you can get for a person. He is somebody that is not a politician. He is going to give it to you completely straight and unabashed opinion. You actually want somebody that's going to make a difference and change the insanity that keeps getting voted into office and help hold people accountable. This is your guy.